Introduce yourself.
Well, you introduce ourselves. I'm Gary Davis, and this is, tell me your name.
Charles King.
Charles King.
And I'm Arlene King Fowler.
So, tell us, Charles, about my grandfather, her dad. Where was he from again?
Medina, Tennessee.
Medina, Tennessee. And that was right outside of Jackson.
About 30 miles north.
And how many brothers and sisters did he have?
Well, he had two sisters. We'll get them out of the way, and then on the brothers was 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 of them, counting the one that stayed in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. And he was the youngest of all the kids.
Uncle Julius was.
Uncle Julius.
Well, Charles, what was my dad's middle name?
I never knew.
Because you know he always went by J.L. and I thought it was Leonard, but it must not have been.
No.
Because his brothers-
Leonard was my grandfather.
Okay, so tell us the names of my dad's brothers, all of them.
Well, the oldest one was Tom. He stayed in Tennessee. And then there was another John and Homer and Leonard and Julius, and I hope that I hadn't missed one.
Okay.
I got this stuff on paper at home, but you know, you go 30 years without looking at something and
Right.
your memory fails you.
Okay, so your grandpa was Leonard.
Yep.
And Leonard had Guy and May.
Yeah, let's start at the top and go down the list.
Okay.
He had Esther
True.
and May and Frank and Claude and Guy.
Okay. Well, I never heard of Frank.
Well, he was the oldest brother, and he got killed going to work down on the prairie around Slovak in an automobile accident. They wasn't much on doctors in them days, and they carried him to the hospital, but his appendix had ruptured in that wreck and set up gangrene, and they never could save him.
Your turn, Gary.
Oh, I was just wondering, do you remember how he met our grandmother King? Gracie.
You talking about Julius?
Julius, how did he meet her?
I guess maybe through Roland.
Probably.
I know that story.
Roland?
I'll come over.
Yeah, come on.
Tell it.
Well, I didn't know that.
I'm
Well,
Rhonda, and
Roland's
Grandma.
wife was my mother's sister.
Grandma King told me that Roland's wife, being her sister Etta,
Right.
that Julius, I guess, came to visit or came to stay, and she met Grandpa Julius, and she told me that he came over to the house one day and said, "Gracie, go pack a suitcase. We're getting married today, leaving." And she said, "Okay." She went and packed a suitcase, and he brought a wagon, a horse and wagon, and took her to the church, and they got married. And I said, "Grandma, how much did you know him? Had you ever kissed him?" And she said, "Oh, no." And I said, "Oh, my goodness, Grandma." So I remember that
That's a good one.
story. Yeah, but I never met Grandpa Julius because he died when I think I was maybe 2 or 3 months old.
Yeah.
I was just a small girl. But I'm interested also in what Charles remembers about our mother, Corrine. Especially, you know, I have such fond memories of her playing the guitar in church and me as a child
Well, I'm
singing
sure
with
you
her.
would.
So I'm interested in him telling a story he remembers about her playing the guitar and her singing.
Well, that was the first time I ever saw her sing and play the guitar. And I think that she had came to our house that time.
How old was she?
Oh, she was probably 13 or 14.
Wow.
Wow.
she did came down with Roland and Etta.
Yeah, we didn't have a car. Everywhere we went, we used to come to see y'all, and Uncle Roland would always bring us. He had an old T-model, what do you call
Model A.
it, Model A. He did.
Well, I have another question. You know, we talked earlier today, I was interested since all of Corrine's kids, my 6 brothers, they're all just very good with their hands in building things. And I was wondering, did Grandpa Julius or any of the Kings, were they ever carpenters or did they build things?
Well, my dad was. He built houses and cabinets, minnow tanks, anything out of wood he could build.
Well, I remember Guy well, and so you have 2 sisters,
Yeah,
Virginia and Ludine.
that's right.
Yeah, and Claude was your brother, but you told us that a while ago. I didn't know about Frank, but I remember him well. You always lived in DeVos Bluff. How'd y'all get in DeVos Bluff and everybody else get in Des Arc?
I don't know. They moved, well, didn't none of them get in Desert until they all settled at Center Point. Whenever they came here out of Tennessee, them and Pfeiffer's, and one of the Pfeiffer's is still left, still lives in Hazen and out
Okay.
toward Center Point.
So the Pfeiffers was my dad's mother, right? Nancy Pfeiffer was
Yeah,
Dad's mother.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
And we still have some Pfeiffers living that are kin to us?
No, they're just all, yeah, but they're all springs. All the old ones have been going a long time.
Well, I didn't know that either. How do you spell that Pfeiffer?
Just like Pfeiffer's store.
Well, there you go.
Okay, there you go. P,
Now, I don't think any
How
of
do you
them,
spell it?
I don't think any of them own the store, but
E-I-F-E-R.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, well,
oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess we were all kind of same boat. So my dad was from Modestus, is that what you said? Tennessee? And we
Yeah.
and what's the name of the cemetery that all these people are buried at?
well, I guess what the name of the town is.
And I think you were saying, Charles, that maybe Julius's firstborn, which was Uncle Tommy, perhaps Tom may have been named after one of Julius's brothers.
Oh, yeah, I'm quite sure that was the case.
And you remember seeing seeing Uncle Tommy too, when he was a little boy?
Well, Lord,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. There was a creek that used to run behind y'all's old house,
Oh,
and
yeah.
anytime I was up
Big
there,
creek.
me and Tommy was always trying to catch crawfish or out of that creek, and if it was winter, why, he always run trouts on it.
You know, I remember Uncle Tommy when he would come to Arkansas and bring his 2 children, David and Shelley, and he loved to go fishing. I guess he loved to fish even throughout the rest of his adult life.
Yeah, and cook them.
Yeah, I remember he would clean them and cook them, and he did such a great job cooking. But I tell you what, Erling's kitchen was a mess when he got done. I remember that.
Yeah, he was something else. He was something
Yeah, I remember Mom always liked him. He actually come to our place once, and he was in the military, so he'd get in there and he'd make a big batch of pancakes. He goes, I'm used to feeding all these kids like this.
Now, do you remember how
So many
he
kids.
poured the pancakes out, Jeff?
Right, I remember he had a big jar. He'd
He'd shake the jar and he'd pour it
He'd
out.
say, line up, boys. Because Mama had so many kids. He goes, I'm used to cooking for a big. So yeah, he always did a lot of cooking.
had a cigar hanging out of his mouth.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
remember that?
He quit doing that though.
Yeah,
after
that
years.
was, they might not remember that when
I
I was
remember
little.
that.
Yeah, just when I was little. I
Yeah, but he
remember that.
loved cooking fish, catching fish.
He did.
When we go to Hurley's, he'd have a big fish fry out there. So
Yeah, we would.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw him. We went fishing. Remember? Came to your house. I drove up here and went fishing with him.
Too bad Shelley and David couldn't have come.
Yeah.
They can
You
come
remember
the
Tommy
next time.
working at the sawmill?
I knew he worked at the sawmill. He went in the army for 2 years and then he came home. There wasn't anything to do except sawmill in Desert, so he just re-enlisted, made it his career.
Well, you couldn't blame him for that.
No. He was a good brother.
Can you think of anything else about our Grandpa Julius you'd
Yeah.
want to share with us that we can put on tape to share with our children?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'll finish up with Julius's dad.
Okay.
He was in the Civil War.
Really?
Yeah. And, in fact, in this, the picture that we've got of him,
And didn't
He
bring
was-
him with us.
he was still dressed in, Army
Uniform.
uniform. But anyway, apparently the war finally got over, and him and a buddy was coming back home. And somewhere along the way, they had to stop for the night at a inn or something, and probably had ate the meal and was gonna sleep upstairs there that night. And so they went on up, when it got dark, went on upstairs and laid down, but they didn't, about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, they heard the old stairs creaking, and they could tell it was 2 people coming upstairs. And so his buddy was asleep, and so he nudged him and woke him up. And then he could hear them too. And so they just drove the old pistols out and got ready for him. And when they opened the door, the old woman was behind them carrying a lantern, and the man was in front with a broadaxe. And, they'd come there to kill him because they thought they'd been mustered out of the army and they'd have a pocket full of money. And so they just shot him in the head. Left
Our great
him
grandpa
and
did?
Yeah.
come on home.
And his name was Dolphus.
No, that was John.
John. It would be Julius's dad. Was John. Talking about our grandfather's dad.
John,
Would that
John
be-
was Julius's dad.
I got you. Okay, I didn't know.
Was he a big man as well? 'Cause I remember.
Don't know. Never saw a picture of him or anything else. Just
What about Julius's brother, Guy? Was he?
No.
Because I know Grandpa was a
one of
big
his
man.
one of his
Guys,
brothers is just identical to my boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the thing of it is, it's a characteristic passes on from generation to generation. And he got a temper just like Grandpa King. Oh,
It takes a minute.
man, you talk about getting bent out of shape.
Really? Yeah, I think we got some of that too. But it's funny, the older you get, you just let things go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You find out that things just ain't near as important
That's
as
right.
they once was.
That's right. It's just not worth all that.
So was Julius? Did he worry a lot? Was he a warrior? I remember as a kid he was, and our mom worried about things, about everything.
All the
kings.
kings were worried.
Warriors. Yeah, because I barely remember him worrying about things when I was.
I had an aunt, and my daddy just tormented the way out of her. And he could catch her parked somewhere in their car, and he'd throw some oil up underneath it or pour some water up underneath it, and then he'd always let her know, that there was something wrong with her car. And she'd leave there just wringing her hands and say, oh my God, what I'm going to do.
Well, I'm actually a generation. Actually, John was my grandpa. Let's see. What was that? My dad's. Now, who is your grandpa? Who was your great grandpa?
John.
But he was my grandpa. And he's his great grandpa.
Yeah, that's right.
See,
Who's your grandpa?
That's right.
Would be my.
you're
okay.
great. Y'all
Right.
two would be in the same generation.
Right. Okay.
I came
got
home.
you.
Yeah, I was the youngest of the Kings and the Webbs. So when I saw that picture at y'all's house, I thought, why y'all have it? I'm younger than y'all. It's funny, but I had that picture.
You do have that picture.
I do. When Tommy came home one year, we borrowed it, and we maybe from Virginia.
Maybe from Grandpa King.
We bought it, and we took it to Walmart and had a copy
The
made of
stockyard.
it. We do.
Well, I'll declare. Well, that was one I was gonna bring with us.
The one hangs on the wall. The black. Yeah.
Yeah.
In
He's
his
got the full
uniform.
beard, yeah, in his uniform.
Yes, I do have that picture. Tommy's son has that picture. Tommy took it home with him.
David has that picture.
Yes, David has the
I
picture.
sure would like to have a copy of that.
I've got one somewhere. I'll
Yeah.
see if I can. He's in that uniform.
Yeah. Boy, he was mean looking.
Yeah. Just look here. We don't. None of us look mean.
But now, ain't no doubt about it, your daddy was.
Oh my
Really?
goodness.
Well, yeah, whenever he was a young man, yeah, he was a holy terror.
He was a big guy, wasn't he?
Yes,
Yes, he
sir.
was. He could carry out what he started.
Yeah.
6'6".
6.
Wow.
And hands just like that.
Yeah.
Just.
Why was he mean, Charles? You know what? We can say that about him, but I was 16 and I remember him quite well. And I wasn't a perfect child by a long ways, but if I ever got a spanking, it was by my mother when my daddy wasn't there, because he would not let her lay a hand on me.
Yeah.
He never hit me his whole life, never to discipline me or anything. He never did. He spoiled me pretty good.
They
My daddy.
would always hold country dances, probably not
This is where
weekly,
they
but
dancing, honey.
once a month or so, they'd hold a dance at somebody's house. And everyone that he ever went to, they said that he'd break them up.
Oh Lord.
Well, we kind of know where Jimmy and Joe.
Jimmy and Jeff, man.
My oldest aunt was close enough in age to Hugh Liner
Yeah,
until
that's what they called him.
they run together. And of course, he'd take her to dance and would look after her just like a mother chicken. But she told a lot of these stories on it.
Oh, that must have been before he met my mother.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he done routed on down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
he met your mother.
that's what they called Dad, was Jude Liner.
Yeah,
Jude
Jude Liner.
Jew
Yeah.
liner?
Yeah,
June Liner. Wow.
because his name was Julius, so
Yeah.
they just put a little nickname on him. I knew that.
I remember Mom always said, you could tell a king by their nose.
Is it?
She always said that.
Look at that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Uncle
Yeah,
Tommy,
Uncle Tommy, I'm thinking about that too, yeah.
I can remember Gerald Ford.
He is not kin to us,
And
right?
Mama kept saying, look at his nose. I know.
If we'd have found out he had a birthmark between his eyes, she would have knew it, wouldn't she?
She always said that about the king. And she just knew Gerald Ford was a king. I said, no, Mother. Gerald Ford, well, he was a doctor. He's king.
Well, I didn't know that was a trademark, birthmark between your eyes.
Well, all of y'all had one.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
one when I was.
All of
yeah.
y'all had one. When your kids were
daughter
born,
had
one of them didn't have it. Or she
Chris
worried,
did,
she
but
worried
Brian
about
didn't.
Chris. Oh, Chris, she worried
Chris.
about you all the time. She just knew you that they swapped babies because someone else in the hospital had a baby same
Right.
time they did.
She said,
I was
I don't
like,
think
I
that's
don't
the
think
right
that's the
baby.
right baby.
That's what she said. That's not the right one.
I think I was swapped as well.
Well, I think you look too much like your dad, so.
Yeah, Davises really, really look a lot alike. You know?
Yeah.
All of our
Davis is in the,
kids.
all of our mom, Corrine King Davis, all of her children, and she had 7 children, 6 boys and then me, 1 girl, but I'm second in line to Gary. And here's Jeff standing by me. Some of the rest are just out, but we favor and our kids favor.
Yes, very much so.
And our kids are all musically, well, I would say almost all of our kids are
Yeah,
very musically
very
inclined.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, they
I have
are.
3
That is-
sons.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's that gene, yeah.
Yeah, they. Yep,
I was gonna say something.
they're fine musicians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he played over here at the Riverfest yesterday.
Is that
Did
right?
Yeah.
What did he
All
play?
Huh?
What
Plays
instrument?
guitar.
The guitar?
Guitar. Yeah,
But
the
he-
guitar's in there. He's had it out. Need to.
Oh, wow.
Is he playing a band?
Yeah, he plays the bass.
Well, how about that? So I think we must have got this music
From the king
from the
side.
king
Oh,
side and
definitely.
a little bit of the
Definitely.
carpentry from the king side.
Yeah, none
Yeah,
of the
the
Davises
music for
play any
sure.
music.
No,
None, zero.
so,
My grandpa, he didn't have a bass fiddle. And so when my dad would start playing, he'd grab just an old ordinary broom and he'd turn the handle of it down on the floor and scrub it against the floor for a bass.
Yeah.
how about that?
Boom, 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 boom.
Well, Jeanette, you remember a lot too.
Well, I'm just here now.
Oh. Gosh.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us as we thank you for coming and sharing these stories with us?
Well, I'm just proud to hope that you get some enjoyment out of them.
Well, we
Oh,
have.
absolutely.
You know, time goes on and it erases a lot of things that you want to do.
Yes.
That's true.
And so that's about where I'm at now. I had one real serious stroke in '95 that left me in a coma, but I finally made a good recovery back from it. But here of late, well, I've been having some mini strokes, and of course that don't help you. That don't help your memory none.
Well, we're real glad it's 2014, and we're really glad that you still have some memories of our grandfather and some of our grandmother, and definitely of our mom, Corrine, and Uncle Tommy, and of course Aunt Arlene. She was the youngest of Julius's children, so she's still with us. So we're fortunate to have her with us, and just wait, Arlene. Someday we're going to be telling stories about you.
Yeah, I'll be sitting right there telling about her.
Being, you know that Arlene and I are the two elders that's left of the King
Yeah,
family.
that's
Yeah.
true. That is true.
Well, thank you, Charles. We appreciate you coming and telling the stories.
Well, I enjoyed meeting y'all and seeing you again and visiting with you. And y'all come see us sometimes.
Yes, sir, we like that.
Yeah.
We're around there about all the time. So if you're that way, drop in on us.
Well, thanks, Charles. We just might do that. Thank you.
I think you have a good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.